Despite nominating his candidates for his cabinet, President-elect Donald Trump's transition continues to lag behind in other ways. And Israeli officials say they're close to agreeing on terms for a ceasefire with Hezbollah. Good morning. I'm Corva Coleman from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. Over the past few days, President-elect Donald Trump completed nominating all his candidates for his incoming cabinet. That includes Brooke Rollins to be Agriculture Secretary, former Texas state lawmaker Scott Turner as Housing and Urban Development Secretary, Oregon Congresswoman Lori Chavez DeRemer as Labor Secretary, and Wall Street investor Scott Bessent for Treasury Secretary. They joined Defense Secretary nominee Pete Hegseth and others. But NPR's Amy Held reports Trump's transition process is lagging behind in other ways.
Trump's picks are largely loyal, light on related experience, and several have been accused of sexual misconduct. Documents remain unsigned by the Trump transition team, including those that would reveal donor names. And Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota tells ABC's This Week those to vet nominees.
If they keep delaying on these background checks, we will have a delay in getting these cabinet officials in.
But Republican Senator Bill Hagerty of Tennessee says voters don't care about FBI background checks, and he supports recess appointments, allowing Trump to go around Senate confirmation altogether.
I think everything should be on the table.
The Republican-led Senate is set to start the confirmation process next year. Amy Held, NPR News.
There's still a lot of focus on other picks, such as Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for Health and Human Services. NPR's Luke Garrett says he has drawn attention for his opposition to vaccines.
Kennedy has received bipartisan criticism for these anti-vaccine stances. He hasn't yet visited Capitol Hill or met with senators, but since his nomination, he has found some support or just openness among bipartisan members of Congress. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker posted a video on social media criticizing U.S. food systems, saying, quote, "Food in America is making us sick," end quote. While Booker did not mention RFK Jr. by name, this message does echo portions of Kennedy's Make America Healthy Again agenda.
NPR's Luke Garrett reporting. Israeli officials say they are getting closer to reaching a ceasefire agreement in the war with Hezbollah in Lebanon. As NPR's Daniel Estrin reports from Tel Aviv, officials say some disputes remain.
Israeli ambassador to the U.S., Mike Herzog, says Israel is close to reaching an agreement in Lebanon. He said it could be only a matter of days. Lebanon and Hezbollah had no immediate comment. An official familiar with the talks, who was not authorized to publicize details and spoke anonymously, told NPR one remaining dispute is Israel's demand for the right to strike Lebanon in the future if it detects threats. This weekend saw some of the fiercest violence between Israel and Hezbollah in months. Israeli attacks killed at least 84 people Saturday in Lebanon, officials say. And Israel says Hezbollah fired about 250 rockets into Israel on Sunday. Daniel Estrin, NPR News, Tel Aviv.
Conservative advocates say they're hopeful the next Congress will work to limit gender-affirming care when Republicans control the House and Senate next year. NPR's Selena Simmons-Duffin has more.
John Schweppe is policy director for the American Principles Project, a conservative advocacy group. He would like to see the new Republican-controlled Congress move to limit who has access to gender-affirming care using limits on insurance.
One of our goals is to create a Hyde Amendment for so-called gender-affirming care. We don't believe taxpayer funding should go towards that for minors or for adults.
The Hyde Amendment is a 1977 policy that says you can't use any federal dollars for abortion. If the same kind of policy were to be put in place for gender-affirming care, low-income people on Medicaid essentially wouldn't have access to the care. Such an effort would certainly be met with legal challenges from LGBTQ advocates. Selena Simmons-Duffin, NPR News.
There's a hearing in Los Angeles today to consider a request to reduce the life without parole sentence of Eric and Lyle Menendez. The brothers were convicted of first-degree murder in the brutal 1989 slayings of their parents. Steve Futterman reports.
The request comes as attorneys say there is new evidence supporting the brothers' claim that they were sexually molested by their father, Jose Menendez. Attorney Mark Garagos is representing the brothers.
Under the current state of the law, they're eligible to have, and the court has the discretion to recall the LWOP sentence, life without parole.
The district attorney supports reducing the sentence to 50 years to life. With the more than 30 years the brothers have already served, that would make them eligible for parole. Complicating the issue is the fact that the current DA is set to be replaced next month, and the new DA says he needs to review the case before announcing his position. For NPR News, I'm Steve Futterman in Los Angeles.
The movies Gladiator 2 and Wicked Part 1, the combination the film industry calls Glicked, did not rise to Barbenheimer heights at the box office this weekend. NPR's Bob Mondello reports it did power Hollywood to its best pre-Thanksgiving weekend in 11 years.
Gladiator 2 took in a hefty $55 million this weekend in North America.
You have something in you. I knew it from the start. Did you now?
And Wicked was, as its big song suggests, with $114 million in the till. That is easily the biggest domestic opening ever for an adaptation of a Broadway musical, and enough to make this pre-Thanksgiving weekend for all films the best since 2013, proving that movies in cinemas can still be
popular. I know about popular.
Both films also opened overseas. Worldwide, Wicked has taken in $163 million, while Gladiator 2, which opened in some markets 10 days ago, has accumulated $221 million. Bob Mondello, NPR News.
Holiday season is here, and with it comes the feasts. NPR's Regina Barber reports on how some people may be counteracting big meals in unhealthy ways.
A hospital group in Florida, Orlando Health, recently surveyed over 1,000 Americans nationally and found that during the holidays, the tactics to stay healthy might be counterproductive. 1 in 4 people surveyed thought it was a good idea to skip meals in preparation of a large holiday feast. Dietitians actually advise people to eat regularly to help people not overeat during one meal. The survey also found that 1/3 of participants felt they needed to detox themselves after overeating. Dietitians stress that that is not needed and could even be harmful because the body's kidneys and livers are experts at doing that detox. Lastly, health professionals say enjoy the holidays. Only eating one healthy meal or one high in calories isn't going to change your health dramatically. Regina Barber, NPR News.
I'm Corva Coleman, NPR News.